Laura? You are. Turn it on. Turn it on. This one?
Moses.
That's on.
Yes. I'll be following you. I'm sorry. And the people in the hall. Yes. And anybody walking by who might happen to be Jewish, as long as they say Amen. Amen, all the people. Hello, I'm in here. Hello. Here we go. Yes. We have a group of volunteers who will enact the march of the French army into Moscow. Yes, good job. Okay. All right, do we Shabbat Shalom now? Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat 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 Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat 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 Shalom. Shabbat 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 Shalom. Shabbat 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 Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat 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 Shalom. A story. I was on YouTube this past week. That's not the story. The how many of you remember Cast the Giant Shadow? Yeah, it was really pretty awful. It was the story of Mickey Marcus, the American colonel, army colonel, who helped to build the Israeli army, and it starred everybody. Frank Sinatra did a cameo. John Wayne. He's just playing the general. He has no name. And when Kirk Douglas, as Mickey Marcus, had some self-doubt, it is John Wayne who talks him out of it. You're going to go to Israel and you're going to help him build an army, Pilgrim. Okay. So anyway, this is a true life. So it was kind of tragic, though, because after he helped them build a road to Jerusalem that resembled the Burma Road, and they called it the Burma Road, he was camped in the field, and it was, without going into details, a sentry, an Israeli sentry, shot him. So he died very young. He's buried at West Point. But this is a story while he was still alive. On December 9, 1947, an Israeli major by the name of Shamir of the Haganah had come to New York. And Marcus, he recruited Mickey Marcus. His real name was David, was his name, David Marcus. He was going to become the chief instructor of the Israeli army, the Jewish army. And in all seriousness, you have to remember that Israel was in the course of taking in every single refugee. They had survivors of the death camps who were getting off the ships, and they were being handed rifles and sent into combat, even if they didn't know what to do with the rifles. So Mickey Marcus had his work cut out for him. And what happened was Shamir said, "Why are you so willing to leave your office and your profession, your wife and home, to help a new little country to which you owe no allegiance?" And Mickey Marcus looked at Major Shamir and said, "Have you been to Dachau, Major? Have you ever seen and heard a group of Jewish skeletons singing the Hatikvah? Have you ever stood and cried as I was crying then, and as I am crying now, shedding tears of anger, tears of pride, and tears of joy?" So he goes to Israel, and Israel was not the Israel we know. It was really just a desert outpost. And one day, supposedly, Mickey Marcus is driving a Jeep, and Ben Gurion is with him. And that was no small thing, because David Ben Gurion was the prime minister of Israel. He was the only one who could unite the various factions. But they were pulled over by a British patrol. And you know, especially in the ending days of the British Mandate, which went back to the end of World War I, as I recall reading about this, And the British said, let the French have Syria, let the French have a piece of what's up there, of Lebanon, as long as we get the oil. And that's exactly what happened. Clemenceau, who was there for the French, he was the French prime minister. He really didn't know what he was doing. I think he just wanted to divide up the map, and that was that. Anyway, so Mickey Marcus and David Ben-Gurion, and they're pulled over by a British patrol. And the British take his papers and they say, what's your name? He says, Michael Stone. And the officer was not satisfied. He said to Marcus, what is your occupation? Marcus said, I'm a foundry worker. And he looked like a foundry worker because he had boxed when he was younger and somebody gave him a punch in the nose and his nose was mashed. So he did look pretty blue collar. And the forged identification papers were excellent, and they had dirt on them, which made him appear to have lived there for an extended time. And the officer let them pass. And they're driving along, Ben-Gurion and Marcus feeling pretty good about themselves. And Ben-Gurion nudges him and says, and what were you going to explain to the British officer about your West Point ring? Because he was still wearing his West Point ring. It was the most valuable piece of jewelry he has. It was his West Point ring with his real name engraved inside. He took off the ring and never wore it again. That's a true hero of Israel. Okay, questions, comments? Let's roll it along. They take off my data ring. Well, yes, if there's a British patrol going to pull you over. We haven't had British patrols in Florida for, I don't think ever. Maybe a Spanish patrol.
For a brief time, the 1800, early 1800s.
It was British?
You know, 3 times.
Okay, cool.
In Spanish, it was
That's everything. Yes, Paul. Nothing? Okay, let's pick it up from page 13. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hashavei, Mimelech, Mimelech, Malchei Monalim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Oachem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech, Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom, Shalom, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom, Shalom, and what better time to light Shabbat candles? Okay, the ladies, Sherry, Sandy, Gail, if you could go over there, please. Thank you very much. And Lori, you want to go? You like candles?
They're already lit, so they smell the smoke.
No, not already ready.
Really?
It's clusters.
Oh, it's at the bottom.
Okay,
It's now like.
are you joining? Okay, that's fine.
I can do the press, but I don't want to get too close to the place, like, well, when I get generator.
Okay.
You don't want to be too close to the generator.
We wave our hands over the candles eventually. And we cover our eyes.
Had surgery. But yeah, but he had, they kept one over me, just in case he can't get medication. A couple of people on YouTube.
This is what I want to make.
On the reading, I know. I know, that drives me crazy.
Supposed to be with the one.
Oh, yeah. She enjoys herself.
I wanted to go with you before I took my decision. I wanted to what you do, come here for the
On page 15.
You're doing the best thing. I think you're doing the best thing.
It's not a kind of that story. Yeah.
Oh, okay, we'll talk after. Not sure if they can hear you. I think they can hear.
Let's read three stanzas from the bottom of 15 on the left. Harden not your heart in the way of your ancestors, who tried and tested me in the wilderness, even though they had witnessed my miracles. Together, 40 years of contending with that generation. Let me just say, they are wayward, they care not for my ways. In indignation, therefore, did I vow, never would they reach my land, the land of peace, the land of rest, which is ironically what happens in the Torah portion. Okay, the last three lines in the Hebrew. Arba'im shana kutidor ba'omar unto levavei boyatu drachai asher nifati v'avi imirvod Okay, page 16. You know, there was a time when I was first a rabbi, and I did every single one of these songs. And when we got to the Chadadi, I did every single one of those stanzas. And you weren't looking there.
In that moment, you didn't count the notice that you have today, so you were totally there.
That could be. Yeah. What happened was the congregation came to me and said, Rabbi, you have to do every single one of those songs. I said, oh, okay. So that's good.
But then you remember your father said, David,
Yeah.
he wrote the songs.
Now, in an Orthodox shul, you do everything. If you don't do everything, you don't flip the switch in the magical Skinner box, and you won't get the cosmic feed pellet.
But then how come when people go to Chabad, those services are over in 20 minutes?
They daven really fast.
Yeah.
It's called "What's Your Hurry, Omeid?" And God is going, what? What was that second word?
They found that Rabbi Lubavitch and the Speedy Gonzalez.
That's it. They've modernized Judaism. It only took 5,000 years. If the Adonai kiva lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel b'tzedek, v'yamin b'emunato. True story. One of the Hasidic Rebbe's davened so slowly. How slowly did he daven? He davened so slowly that even though he started just when the sun is rising, he didn't finish the Amidah till noon. He was spending an average of 7 seconds on every single word. How about that? Okay. See, God is very old. He doesn't always get it. Sorry. All right, let's move on. Page 20. Ismar l'David. Abul Adonai, Abul Adonai, Abul Adonai, Yerot Shemo, Ishtakanu Adonai, V'Yarko, Ol Adonai Almighty, El HaKavodir, Adonai Almighty, Rabbi. Oh, Adonai. Arkidem Kimoegel, Livanon Vesirion, Imoven Reheim. Oh, Adonai, Vosem Votesh, Oh, Adonai, Yahweh, Yahweh, Adonai, Bidbakadesh, Oh, Adonai, Yisrael, Vayechesoki Arod, Uveichalo, Ulo Merkavod, Adonai, Mahul Yashem, Vayeshev Adonai, Ve'eolam, Adonai, Yitem, Adonai Yivarech, Et Shalom. 21. V'chadoti le'patala, le'shabbat le'kavela, v'chadoti le'patala, le'shabbat le'kavela. V'chadoti le'patala, Amor v'zachor v'tiburefan, Ishmianu el amiuchad, Adonai echad, U'shemo echad, V'shemo tiferet v'gitila. Ikrat Shabbat ve'uvenercha, Kimeko averacha, Eroshmi ketnitzucha, Tzomase b'machshavat licha. Please rise 22 points next. We face the door to which enter. Holy Shalom, on this Please be seated. 23 is more cheerly on Asha. Oh, beautiful the Seva, Shem Rana Nimiyu, the Akit Yashar Adonai, Suri Blah Tabo. All right, we'll put the Siddurim aside and turn to the Parsha. This is not bad. This has something for everyone. It's a double Parsha because this year is not a leap year. So we have to double up on a couple of the Shabbatot or the Shabbos. That's why this is not just Hukat, this is not just Balak, this is Hukat Balak, even before they invented the apostrophe. It's right there. Hukat means these are the statutes of the Torah, and Balak means I'm a pagan king who is one of two Gentiles. I don't think they had Gentiles in those days. Two pagans, after whom different Torah portions are named for extra credit. Who is the first one named that? Hint, he was Moses' father-in-law. Yes, Yitro. And he, of course, helps to establish the judicial system of the Israelite people. And then he goes away. He decides he doesn't want to be part of the great Jewish experiment, and we don't know what happens to him. Balak, on the other hand, is Balak ben Zippor. He's the king of Moab. The Moabites had, shall we say, an unusual relationship with the Israelites. If you recall the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah and Lot and the two Lotets, Mrs. Lot gets turned into a pillar of salt, and another relative is turned into a pillar of pepper. No, but anyway, the two Lotets, they hear from the angel that Sodom and Gomorrah are toast. And so I read that somewhere. The first time that expression was used was by Bill Murray. Okay, Bill Murray in Ghostbusters. But anyway, Sodom and Gomorrah will soon be toast. And so Lot and his two daughters have got to leave very quickly, very rapidly to get out of town and flee to the nearby mountains. Now, multiple choice. If you were escaping a city that's going to be destroyed either by earthquake, volcanic action, hand of God, all of the above, some of the above, which of the following would you take? 1, 2 flasks of wine. 2, your Samsonite luggage. 3, your passport, and start running for Israel.
Go on.
Why did they take the wine?
That's what he took.
I took the wine. I mean, hey, get thirstier. Yes.
That forgets one from another legal, right?
I guess so.
If he didn't take the wine, we wouldn't have the whole story of the Lotets and
Yes.
the children. And
Great story.
It's a great
The
story.
Lot's daughters, who from this point on are known as the elder and the younger. They don't even have names, not even Phyllis and Audrey, or Hepzibah and Elizabeth. Okay, well, what happens is that they are positive the entire world has been destroyed. We're not even at Chukat yet. And the elder tells the younger, behold, we have no issue to repopulate the world. So, well, and we have no male person here either. That's not somebody who brings the mail. That's a masculine person, except for Papa over there, sucking away the cancer. And what shall we do? So the elder tells the younger, this is what we're going to do. Tonight we're going to get Papa drunk, and then I will sleep with him. And tomorrow night we'll get Papa drunk again, and you will sleep with him. And the younger one says, is that really permitted? And the elder says, no, well, the Torah hasn't been given yet, so we're cool. All right, so they do that, and one of them gets pregnant, and she names the baby Moab, which is a corruption, they say, of the word from father, Me'av. Okay, the other one is it Edom? What's the other tribe that you gave birth to? Moab. I don't know what it is. Okay, but anyway, the Moabites since that time kind of have this off-center relationship with the Israelites because they're allegedly the children of incest, and the Israelites never let them forget it. It's like kids in the schoolyard saying bad things about each other's parents. But anyway, that's what happens. So they camp out by the Moabites, and the Moabites, what a surprise, don't like them. So, well, we can't do that part yet. Let's talk about the red heifer. Not much of a segue, but it's right there at the beginning of the Torah portion. Why do we need the red heifer?
Sacrifice?
Yes, very good. As opposed to a pet. No, they're supposed to set a sacrifice. Yes, an offering to God. What's this?
Deep in the heart of Texas or something.
Because
They
in
have red
Texas,
peppers.
there is a place in Texas that they are trying to raise this kind of.
In Israel, they have it already. They visited Europe, they bought some bull sperm, and they're good to go. Really? The
Bless you.
problem is, bless you, the problem is that when you check your red heifer, when the heifer is born, you have got to go over it with a magnifying glass. I had that job for a while, but it's very dull. And you find even one white hair, any hair that is not pure red is disqualifies the cow. They had one many years ago. They called it Melody. It was a sweet little thing, just jump and dance and all that stuff.
What do they do with it?
Oh, they're planning when Mashiach comes, they're going to slaughter it and burn it up as a Holocaust, a complete inferno, and use the ashes. You take the ashes. You want to write this down because you're a lady. Write it down here. Oh, this is the practical. Okay. What happens is you take the ashes and you've got these people who come to you and they say, we weren't able to participate in the Korban Pesach, the Paschal offering, because we were unclean. Please clean us. So you take some of the red heifer's ashes, you mix it with water, and you sprinkle it on the assembled multitude, which purifies them and allows them to participate in the Korban Pesach. Did you make this up? Nobody could make this up. I love Judaism. It's so odd. Okay. But the fact is, everything involved in the sprinkling becomes tameh, becomes impure. You are purifying the multitude, but the ashes become impure, the water becomes impure. The person who did the sprinkling, and you could sign up if you wanted for as a lever, they all become impure. Okay, but that's the red heifer.
How do they become purified?
Because if I take the ashes of the red heifer, I mix it with water, and I sprinkle it on them, they're pure.
But you're impure.
Yes.
When you do it.
Yes, well, no. When afterwards you're impure. You're pure when you do it, but it impurifies.
But then someone has to purify you.
Yes, I suppose it becomes a vicious cycle after a while. Chaim, I'm impure. Can you take over? Oh, no, Moshe, I'm impure too. Oh, Baruch, can you do it? You know, things like this.
No, there was really no explanation for this, but this is
Yeah.
one of the.
No,
few
it's
that
a
has
hook.
that has no
Hook.
explanation.
Yes, a chok is a law for which no logical reason is given.
And that's on.
It's sort of God's way of saying, because I said so. It's a bad custom. After 40 years of journeying through the desert, the people of Israel arrive in the wilderness of Zin. Is it Zin or Sin? I think it's Zin. All right. Miriam dies and the people thirst for water, because as long as Miriam was alive, God had created this wonderful portable well, which followed the Israelites through the wilderness. Like my mother-in-law, should rest in peace. As soon as you came in the house, she said, you want to drink? You want to drink? This, like that, this, like that, this. You want to drink? That was Miriam's well. They followed the Israelites, and when they stopped, she would say, you want to drink? You want to drink? Have a drink. Okay. So that's the, and the well dries up because there's no more Miriam. Okay. Oh, and God, and Moses goes to God and says, the people are thirsty, behold, and God says, you see that rock? Moses says, oh yes. He says, speak to the rock and it will split open and give you water. But Moses is having one of those days and he has a terrible headache. It doesn't say that in the text, but I'm kind of interpreting. And he strikes the rock with his staff and the rock splits open and water gushes out. And the Israelites drink, and God says, sorry, Mo, you blew it. You're not going to enter into the land of Israel. Okay, so that's what happens with that. Because you see, if he struck it, there could have been an underground well, there could have been a mislaid pipe. We'll never really know. Okay, all right. Okay, to this day, if you're interested in drinking from that well, it's in the lobby of the Jerusalem Dan Hotel. Okay. Aaron dies. He dies at Hor Hahar, which is my favorite mountain in all of Israel. You don't know where it is. Hor Hahar. That means mountain. Okay. That's what it is. It's like New York, New York. It's a place so nice they named it twice. Okay. Meanwhile, God is angry at the Israelites. What else is new? So he sends a flock, a group. What do you call a group of snakes? Herd?
Republicans.
Be in such a flock. of snakes. And they're poisonous, they're biting the people and the people are dying. It's not unusual. So, and the Israelites cried to Moses and say, save us, save us. So he takes some brass and he makes a brazen serpent and puts it on top of a pole. And anybody who sees the brazen serpent, you can append any Freudian interpretation you wish, comes back to life.
And this became the symbol of medicine in the ancient times.
The caduceus.
The symbol of the medicine is the pole with
The two serpents.
yeah.
Yes, yes, indeed. Okay, now we don't know what happened to it. Apparently, in the first temple, they kept the brazen serpent. That way, if the invisible God doesn't work out, well, we've got the snake. I'm just saying. But then it vanished. We'll never know what happened to it. That'd be interesting. Okay, and they have to go to war. There are two giants, Sihon and Og. They are kings of the Amorites, just in case you thought things were going well with the Moabites. We've got the Amorites for you. And Og, I love Og. Og is a character. Og is so old. How old is Og? Og is so old that he survived the flood with Noah. Because he was a giant, there was no room for him in the ark. So he sat on the roof and Noah passed him food through the skylight. You really think a boat should have a skylight if it's pouring rain? But it did. All right, whatever. Now, finally, the donkey, the amazing donkey. Who tells us about the amazing donkey? Anybody? Yes.
Then he says the truth.
Yes, he does. It's a she-ass, as a matter of fact. Yes, which apparently have more seichel than he-asses. But Bilam is the pagan prophet, and he got fairly famous. He wrote the Ma Tovu Alecha, how goodly are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. So Bilam is minding his business, and Balak, the king, sends him gold and silver. And Bilam says, well, I got to pray to God. And God said, the Israelite God, he's kind of shopping for a new God. He prays to the Israelite God. The Israelite God says, nah, don't deal with them. Let them go away. So he sends the wise men back with the silver and gold. This happens 3 times. It's a fairy tale, really. And finally, Balak, the king, comes himself and he says, yo, we could do some business here. And Bilam says, you know what? This is my house. If you filled up my house with gold up to here, I could not do anything unless I consulted with God. And then the next verse, all of a sudden, he's on his way. God didn't give him permission. So he's on his faithful donkey, and the faithful donkey is carrying him. And God sends an angel with a flaming sword. That'll get your attention. And the donkey shears out of the way so as not to bump into the angel. And Bilam gets very angry because he's a man. He's got brilliant thoughts. No, he's too busy thinking deep thoughts to pay attention to what's happening in front of him. So he whacks the donkey's tushy with a stick, and this keeps going, and then the angel appears again, the second time, then the angel appears the third time, plus the third time, Bilam, is not wearing, any boots, so the angel rubs him up against the garden wall, and he gets a boo-boo on his leg. He gets scraped. We don't like getting scraped, we men. And then the donkey turns its head around, and says to Bilam, why are you whacking me? Am I not your faithful donkey who's carried you for 20 years? And Bilam says, I'm so angry, if I had a sword, I would kill you. And then he sees the angel. He doesn't say, hey, my donkey is talking. He has to wait till he sees the angel. So the angel says, listen to me, Bilam. Go to Balak, but don't curse him. Wait, pray to God, and say what he tells you to. So that's what happens. The angel, somebody teaches Bilam this wonderful little poem, and he goes home, and Balak is upset, and Bilam is feeling pretty satisfied. That's the whole story.
You want
So,
to hear my version?
sure.
Okay, so the donkey, in my version, donkey would have continued speaking.
Okay.
Because he did speak, he told me, he said, why are you hitting me? What did I do? And had he said anything, the donkey, that had to do more with humanity rather than his own tushy being lacked, that probably God would have let Donkey speak, but because he said something that was kind of just all about him,
Oh, I see.
that he took that privilege away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There is one place on earth that donkeys speak, that's Washington DC. But, Anybody else? Any donkey remarks? Awesome. You got no donkeys in Argentina? Okay. I'll say this. I read this book. It's written by a Jewish guy named John Katz. He happens not to be very religious, but he writes about Simon the donkey. He rescued this donkey. It was just being kept by a farmer who didn't feed it and didn't take care of it and so on. And donkeys are remarkably intelligent.
You are,
Yeah.
I love them.
Yes, I really, and they have those eyes, you know, they look
They're
at
very
you.
soulful.
Yes,
They
yes.
really are.
Say, come on, you want to give me a carrot, don't you? Okay, very nice. So I would recommend it, Don Katz, Simon the Donkey. Page 28, please rise for the borough food. Paul, any closing comments about donkeys, prophets? I don't know. Rolled up to here. All right. Well, we have to open the ark. Okay, Gail, Stephen, would you care to open the ark, please?
Amen.
Right, there's been a really wonderful moon over the last few evenings. And very, very clear in the sky. So let's do on the bottom left of on 28. Light and darkness, night and day, we marvel at the mystery of stars. Together, moon and sky, sand and sea, we marvel at the mystery of sun. Twilight, high noon, dusk and dawn. Though we are mortal, we are creation's crown. Flesh and bone, steel and stone, we dwell in fragile temporary shells. Grand steadfast love, compassion great, sustain us, God, our origin is dust. Majesty, mercy, love endure, we are but little lower than the angels. Resplendent skies, sunset, sunrise, the grandeur of creation lifts our lives. Evening darkness, morning dawn, you are alive, and it's for you all. Continuing now, page 30 is the Shema. Shema Yisrael. Together in the English, you shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. And these words which I command you this day, you shall take to heart. Teach them diligently to your children. Recite them at home and away, night and day. Bind them as a sign upon your hand, as your light above your eyes. Inscribe them upon the doorposts of your homes, on your gates. Continuing now. 32. Okay, I am this name Moshe, say li anu v'amru, I invoke Yolam Boed Benemar, Yifad Adonai et Yaakov, Ugiolo miad chazak mimenu, Oru Ata Adonai, O Al Yisrael, Amen. We'll turn to page 33 on the top left. We've got the paragraph for the folks who are not well and need Refuah Shalema. I'll read from my list. Rachel Spira, Refuah Shalema. Jeffrey Stern, Refuah Shalema. Murray Lichtenstein, Refuah Shalema. Inez Pasha, Refuah Shalema. Joel Friedberg, Refuah Shalema. Baby Eli Jacob, Refuah Shalema. Norma Fogel before Shlema, Juan Lowe before Shlema. David Dershkowitz before Shlema, Lori Rose before Shlema, Fortune Ramonte before Shlema, Karen Monat before Shlema. Any other names? Lauren Lobel before Shlema. Yes, before Shlema. Oh, okay. Anyone else? All right, let's read the paragraph on 33, the top left. Help us, Adonai, to lie down in peace, and awaken us again, our sovereign to life. Spread over us your shelter of peace. Guide us with your good counsel. Save us because of your mercy. Shield us from enemies and pestilence, from starvation, sword, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, O God, who watches over us and delivers us, our gracious and merciful ruler. Guard our coming and our going. Grant us life and peace now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Praise to you, Adonai, who spreads the shelter of peace over us, over all his people Israel, over Jerusalem and the entire world. Adonai, praise to God, Shalom Aleinu, Ya'kol Anu Yisroel, Ya'u Yerushalayim, Ya'kol Ha'olam K'ulo. Amen. Page 34 of the Shabbat. Vishamru, B'nei Yisrael, Shabbat, La'asu et Shabbat, V'Torah V'Torah, Vishamru, B'nei Yisrael, Shabbat. They knew then in Israel, O Tirana, O Tirana, O Tirana.
Beshtamru, B'nei Yisrael, Hashem.
Sheshet Yamim, Asa Adonai, Asa Adonai, Et Hashamayim, Et Haaretz,
B'nei Yisrael, Hashem. La'asu et
Ubayom Hashvi, Shabbat Vayinapash, Shabbat Vayinapash, Shabbat
Vishamru, B'nei Yisrael, La'asu et Hashem.
Please rise, have Kaddish, bottom of 34.
Movies come, Miracle, Amevora, Amen.
35B to 38, when you're done, you may be seated.
Right, no there, no?
Huh?
No, right.
No.
Shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'alekom Israel, ve'emrua. 48. Min gadar mikra Hashem merabah. Ve'alma libra krute ve'amlik malkute ve'chaye chor ve'yomei chor ve'chaye zechor ve'Israel. Bagala v'zman galim ve'imru. Yesh merabah ve'morah. Ve'olam ve'omaya. Gitvanak ve'ishtabach ve'ipar v'dram v'draseh. ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמרים ולשם ואילן עם כל ברכתה ושילתה ושבחתה ונקמתה למילה מהרבנאים ברו יתקבל אצל אדונו אותו לכל ישראל כלמו עבודים בשמיים ימרו יגי שלמה רבה משמיים וחיימה עלינו על כל ישראל וימרו עושה שלום לברכה
Say shalom aleinu
ועל כל
to
ישראל
Israel.
והקדוש ויתהלל וימרו אמן עושה שלום לברכה יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל וכל יושבי תבל וימרו Prize the Elena. You didn't do a good. You didn't do a good deal. You sit down and right here. Sit up so we can buy some. Not good for me. Yeah. I know for me. Yes, I want. These are the wine. Juice. Juice, baby. The wine one. The color. Wine. Orange is one. Yeah. Love the blue too. That's juice. It's juice.
Juice. Thanks for-
How do you call the noise? That the cat does.
Meow.
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 Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei yakafe. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav ורצה בנו בשבת קודשו ואהבו ורצון כי לנו זיכרון למעשה וראשית.
It's $7, like 12 before. A couple on YouTube. Yeah. Wait.
No, yes, nobody can announce that.
I don't know what that was.
All right, Elena. Thanks to the cantor for a very lively kiddush. Full Kaddish.
And imagine if the king would have been sung after drinking wine.
Oh, or you, yes, because we left from right to left. Okay. Folks, Sandy, Joel, would you like to open the office? Page 52 is the mourner's cottage. If you're not saying cottage, you may be seated. I wanted to announce, for those of us who knew him, that Charlie Redland has passed away, and I'll be doing the funeral on Sunday. Mourner's cottage 52. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah, Amen. Yom Ma Divrach, Dirte, Yom Dir Mapute. I own the Bnei I ate the whole day Israel. Agalal Bisman Kori Nibu Amen. Yeshmei Rabba Nevorach Yoram Umeim Mayo. Yikorah Yishtabah. Yikoar Vitomam Vitase. Yitadar Vitale Vitalal Shudei Kudisha Arihu. The Elam and call their Mata Vishirata. I am a leader of Israel in Shalom, who are Shalom. All right, before we do the Adon Olam, our president. Good
Shabbat. To everyone, and to everyone at home who's Lord, to everyone at home who is watching as well. This is a very special Shabbat weekend for us at Temple Shalom, because something extraordinary is happening, and that is tomorrow's service. We are able to do something I think that only gets accomplished at our sweet show. And that is to have our wonderful cantor with us and wish him well, and have cantor Anita Schubert come in and wish her well with us. I think we're an extraordinary community in that way, and I'm very proud of us. I'd like to say that it is difficult to, even though we're going to have Cantor Javier with us through July, it's difficult to say goodbye. And we hope we're not saying goodbye. And that our friendship there will always be there. On Saturdays, when I'm on the Bima, I will miss especially that once in a while when Cantor Javier was looking for a word, he would look over at me, and most of the time I had the word to fill in. So we had this little vocabulary thing going, and I want you to know that you will be missed after 5 wonderful years of service and friendship to Temple. So, but tomorrow is a very special day, so I hope that you can all be here. I hope that those of you who are watching at home will be there as well. When you open your mailbox this maybe tomorrow, but by next week for sure, you're all going to be getting letters for membership renewal, and for our new members who are joining up as well. It's just that time of year. The 1st of July begins our new membership season, begins our fiscal year at Temple. So don't be mad at me. It's really a letter of love, because this allows us to keep our community going with your support, and it's so important. This week, all of our regular activities will be going on. I believe on Sunday, we're going to have game night, yes? And a very lively game night as well. And keep tuning in. Keep tuning into the website. Keep calling in the office if you have any questions that we can answer. And as we really start marching double time toward high holidays. So a good Shabbos to all.
Wasn't you want to go along? Well, we can go together. Okay, once I find out the two. Okay. You did the words, you did American. Oh, it's all right. Adon, Adonai, Hashem, Hashem, Allah. It doesn't go with that. With the American flag, it doesn't. It goes with the stars. Star Spangled Banner, but I don't know if it's appropriate. No, it's all right. Oh, no,
I'm doing it tomorrow.
Oh.
Yevarekeka Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May the Lord bless you and keep you.
Yair Adonai panaverecha v'kuneka.
May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you.
Yisa Adonai panaverecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
The Lord turn his face into you and grant you peace. We'll say amen. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
What? Sherry, when you,
Shabbat shalom.
oh, muzzle tough. Excited? You excited?